The first time I did it, like 10 years ago, the sort of press, particularly the industry press in America, was like, why is he saying these awful things to the most beautiful people? You know? And then by the fifth time, right, they were going, good, give it to him, we're sick of celebrities.
Ellen DeGeneres is named in the Epstein documents, and that part is real. Her name appears in the broader index of over 300 high-profile individuals that show up across the investigative materials.
Spoiler alert, season 2 is on the way, so in the end, he obviously didn't himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein.
He had 5 minutes on that stage. 5 minutes to say what nobody else in that building had the nerve to even whisper. Ricky Gervais stood in front of Hollywood royalty, executives, A-listers, people whose phone calls can open or permanently close doors, and told them, with a straight face, that their social circles included Jeffrey Epstein. The room didn't erupt. It froze, and that freeze told you everything a press release never would. We spent years thinking Ricky was just allergic to politeness. Now, with one Hollywood secret after another breaking into public view, that night looks nothing like a comedy set. It looks like someone who already knew what was coming and chose a microphone over a whisper. At the dead center of everything he pointed at sits a woman the world knew as warm, generous, and endlessly positive. Someone who made Be Kind a personal trademark, while allegedly being connected to a network so troubling, it makes the names on the Epstein documents look like minor footnotes. That woman is Ellen DeGeneres. And the celebrities still quietly shielding her, and the full scope of what's allegedly about to surface, may reshape everything we thought we understood about how Hollywood actually operates.
Away, so in the end, he obviously didn't himself, just like Jeffrey Epstein. Shut up! I know he's your friend, but I don't care. I don't tell people not to be offended. I tell them I don't care if they are.
Right.
Be offended if you want.
Yeah.
It makes it funnier for me.
Something strange is happening at the intersection of extreme wealth and medical science. And it's no longer purely theoretical. Across Silicon Valley, some of the most financially powerful people alive are reportedly funding research into young blood plasma transfusions, a practice that's traveled under names like ambrosia in certain circles. The belief fueling these investments is as simple as it is startling, that receiving blood from younger donors can meaningfully slow or even reverse the aging process in older recipients. It sounds like the plot of a thriller. Reportedly, for some, it's an active investment strategy.
At the end, I was asking about the movie, and I asked him about that one particular part where everybody's talking, and they all cried out Epstein Island. And I went, oh, okay. Now I understand what we're up against.
Wow.
Epstein Island isn't the only thing.
She believed consumption was transformation, that youth could be taken in, that vitality could be absorbed. She talked about ancient rites, about elites throughout history who understood what the masses didn't. There was a separate kitchen on her property, stainless steel, private entrance, no security cameras inside.
Strip away the clinical language and the venture capital framing, and what allegedly exists beneath the surface of this industry is something far harder to rationalize. According to accounts that have reportedly circulated in private for decades, certain powerful individuals allegedly sought out biological material from young people, not through any regulated medical channel, but through something far more disturbing. The reported belief at the core of these allegations is that the human body, under conditions of acute fear or trauma, produces specific compounds that carry measurable restorative value for whoever ultimately receives them. This, according to the darkest interpretations of the Epstein Island allegations and the ritualistic practices Ellen reportedly confided to her partner, is what was allegedly being pursued. It reframes youth not as something to protect, but as something to be taken, by those with enough money and enough distance from consequence to act on that belief without hesitation.
Okay, let's talk about this facial that you're obsessed with. How many, did you get the whole cast of Ocean's 8 to do
Not
this?
everybody.
Okay, good, smart ones.
Just those that I thought would appreciate it.
Okay, explain what it is.
Well, it's this way in which one forces, through microneedling, It's like a little roller with these, some of you, I think many of you know it, and it pushes through the skin and ruptures the collagen and then boosts it. You look like a burn victim for a day, but then it pushes the
What are you pushing into the skin, Sarah? Sandra? Carrie? What are you pushing into the skin?
Well, you push in whatever the facialist would like to insert into your pores.
But what is it?
It is an extraction from a piece of skin that came from a young person far, far away, and they somehow figured out how to extract.
It's foreskin from a Korean baby.
For about 48 hours in late 2018, Kevin Hart was the most talked about name in entertainment, and not in the way he'd planned. He'd just secured the Academy Awards hosting slot, one of the most high-profile gigs in the business, when a wave of old controversial tweets resurfaced, and the internet responded with full force. He stepped down before he ever stepped onto that stage. Hollywood, true to form, largely kept its head down and said nothing. Ellen did the opposite. She brought Kevin onto her show, told her audience she had personally contacted the Academy on his behalf, and made a very public case for his character and his growth as a person. At the time, it read as loyalty, but given what has since reportedly emerged about Hart's alleged attendance at private gatherings connected to figures like Diddy, people are now reading that moment through a very different lens. The defense was too fast, too visible, and too personally invested to feel purely selfless in hindsight. Was it friendship? Possibly. Or was it the kind of protection that only makes sense when two people are holding the same information neither can afford to release?
Well, Kevin Hart's job hosting the 91st Academy Awards lasted just 2 days. The actor and comedian was announced as the host Tuesday afternoon, but overnight Hart stepped down following an outcry over previous homophobic tweets and comments he made during stand-up routines nearly a decade ago. Anna Warner shows us how an Instagram video from Hart only made matters worse. Anna, good morning.
Good morning. Hosting the Oscars has always been one of the toughest jobs in Hollywood, but the criticism usually comes after the show. Less than an hour after Kevin Hart's announcement, a reporter posted screen grabs of the comedian's old homophobic tweets, and from there, the backlash grew.
Everything about a raccoon says crime.
Kevin Hart is known for his unique brand of comedy.
A raccoon came up to the glass doors, put his hand on the glass, saw me, shot at me twice.
And he's a fixture at the box office, starring in blockbuster hits like Jumanji.
We gotta go. I can't outrun those guys.
And the Ride-Along franchise.
You are what I say you are. Oh, God.
But just 2 days after he was announced as host of the Academy Awards, Kevin Hart dropped out, under fire for past homophobic comments on social media. On Twitter last night, he wrote, "I do not want to be a distraction. I sincerely apologize to the LGBTQ community." It was an abrupt turn from just hours earlier.
I've said who I am now versus who I was then. I've done it.
When a defiant Hart took to Instagram to say he wouldn't apologize.
I'm not going to continue to go back and tap into the days of old when I moved on and I'm in a completely different space in my life.
The comedian faced intense criticism this week after tweets surfaced from between 2009 and 2011 where he used the term gay as an insult and called people homophobic slurs.
One of my biggest fears is my son growing up and being gay.
He made similar comments in his 2010 stand-up special, Seriously Funny.
Every kid has a gay moment.
Dave Chappelle has reportedly been direct about this, stating that a very real network of power brokers exists within Hollywood, one that he says operates with a specific and consistent agenda, to systematically undermine, diminish, and control black men who gain enough visibility to become threats to that structure.
Dave Chappelle, another great comedian, said that, in the industry, they tried to make him wear a dress. Have you ever ran into that with scripts? And is that something that, you wouldn't do, for...
I definitely haven't ran into to put on the dress. I mean, you have to have boundaries. You have to have limits that you refuse to cross. For me, I know what they are. They've yet to been challenged, so I don't have to speak on them. I was asked to dribble a basketball on a talk show this morning. I said no to that. Not that that was a dress, but I was like, no, I'm gonna look stupid. At the end of the day, you got to know that you're a brand. I'm a brand. You need to protect your brand at all times. When things happen that can possibly affect your brand, your brand can be diminished, and you don't want that to happen. So protecting my brand is definitely a priority.
I mean, I'm a conspiracy theorist to a degree. Like when I connect dots that maybe shouldn't be connected, I don't know. But certain dots, like when I see that they put every black man in the movies in a dress at some point in their career, I'll be connecting them down like, wow, all these brothers gotta wear a dress. This happened to me. I'm doing a movie with Martin.
Yeah.
The movie's going good. So I walk in the trailer. I'm like, man, this must be the wrong trailer because there's a dress in here. They come in. The writer comes in. I think he's the writer. He's like, Dave, listen, we got this hilarious scene where Martin's sneaking out of jail. So he disguises you as a prostitute. And he put this dress on. And, what? The prostitute? Nah, I'm not doing that. I don't feel comfortable with that. That should have been in the discussion. What? You don't feel comfortable with it? I mean, it's a hilarious bit. All the greats have done it. So, well, if all the greats have done it, it's kind of hacky, right? You're right. So why don't we just not do it? Because I don't feel comfortable wearing a dress. Oh, come on, Dave. Listen, we got it all set up. We're supposed to shoot. Every minute you waste costs this much money. You know, the pressure comes in. He said, I'm not wearing no dress, man. I'm funnier than a dress. Just give me something funny to say. I don't need to wear no dress to be funny. What am I, Milton Berle? You know, we're going like this. And then finally he's like, and he leaves. And then like the director comes, Dave, it really would be great if you wear the dress. What is wrong? What is this, Brokeback Mountain in here? So then, wear the dress. I don't want to wear the dress. I want to wear this dress. You know what I mean? This is, oh gosh, this guy's so difficult. They leave. Man, the producers comes, come on, David, would be so great. I mean, and then I started thinking about it. All the comics that I've seen, man, you know, strong brothers, why they putting us in these dresses?
A former member of Kevin Hart's personal staff has reportedly come forward with allegations that sharply contradict the public image he's spent years building. According to those accounts, Hart allegedly carried on multiple extramarital encounters involving people within his own professional circle, with the former assistant claiming to have been present during several of these situations in private areas of his residence, including a personal sauna. If these allegations hold any truth, they suggest the grounded, family-first persona Hart presents publicly may have been maintained as a deliberate construction, rather than a genuine reflection of his private conduct.
Oh, the cheating. What have you witnessed besides everybody seeing the tape? What have you witnessed, though, personal assistant?
I witnessed, there's a blonde girl who has this pretty curly hair. She's light-skinned, skinny. I think she's probably black and white, black and Spanish or something. She has like this fluffy, natural hair. He bought her in the office, and she drives a Range Rover. That's how I know who it is, and Kevin drives his different cars. She comes into the office, and when he introduced her to me, he said that she was his model for Hustle Heart, taking the Hustle Heart supplements and, you know, posting them.
Gorgeous.
She's beautiful.
And what you see?
Kevin and I, we shared an office. Kevin bought the entire floor. One side was Laugh Out Loud, one side was Heartbeat. And so he had the office, and then it was this big office like this, the size of this room. And right here was my office. Right here was his office. He had a middle table, the conference room, and a bathroom, his dressing room, and a kitchen. I came in one day. I don't know if anything happened, but there was somebody in his office, and I was heading to mine because somebody just put a TV on my wall. Correct. Someone was supposed to put a TV on my wall. And I came in and I walked right back out, and I was like, whatever is happening in there, I know it's not good. I didn't see anything, but I left.
You heard noises?
Yes. I don't know what kind of, but it was something happening. I knew who was in there.
Who?
The blonde girl.
Oh, he ain't even in hotel rooms. He said, last time I got caught up in a hotel room, fuck.
And that's why he wanted a shower. And he told his designer that he needed a new couch. And I told his designer, I said he needed a new couch because he wanted to fuck on his couch. That's what he needs it, because the one that you got in there is not comfortable enough to be pounded in cheeks. That's why he needs a new couch.
Anne Heche lived the consequences of leaving Ellen's world in the most direct way possible. Through the late 90s, they were a defining couple, not just personally, but culturally. Openly gay at a level of public visibility Hollywood had never really seen before, they represented something genuinely new. But the split in 2000 didn't just end a relationship, it ended a career trajectory. Anne later spoke candidly about how completely the industry withdrew from her once that relationship was over, the mental and emotional toll it carried, the professional opportunities that stopped materializing, and the feeling of having been cut off from something that had been quietly keeping her afloat. Ellen's circle, it turned out, wasn't just social, it was infrastructure.
Ellen's ex-girlfriend, who she dated from 1997 to 2000, Anne Heche, sadly passed away. Anne and Ellen, while they were together, seemed to have a bit of a toxic relationship, and when the romance eventually ended, Anne was so distraught that she had to spend time in the hospital trying to get her mental health back into a state of equilibrium. On August 5th of 2022, Anne Heche was driving her Mini Cooper in a neighborhood in Los Angeles when she crashed her car into a home at a high rate of speed just before 11 a.m. After Anne crashed her vehicle into this home, the car went into flames, and shockingly, Anne was not pulled from the car from firefighters until about 11:50. Firefighters were on scene for about 20 minutes before they said they were able to get to Anne in the vehicle due to all of the smoke. When Anne was pulled from the wreckage, she was shockingly still alive. A stomach-turning video that went viral after Anne passed away was of her sitting up out of a stretcher that medics had put her in as they were wheeling her into an ambulance. And at that time, I cannot even imagine the pain that she would have been in. Anne was taken to the hospital where she fell into a coma and was pronounced to have no brain activity on August 11th of 2022. At the age of 53, Anne would pass away, leaving behind 2 young sons. There has been a lot of conspiracies surrounding Anne's passing, as when she passed away, she had been working on a project called The Girl in Room 13, which was a movie about a girl who was being sold into trafficking. There is no evidence to support that Anne's life was taken because of this project that she was working on, but many speculate that someone had done something to her vehicle or cut her brakes or something. People close to her said she would never do this on.
The accounts from former Ellen DeGeneres show employees didn't trickle out slowly. They landed hard. Staff members described a working environment where, reportedly, making eye contact with Ellen directly was discouraged or outright forbidden. Claims of discriminatory treatment and inappropriate physical conduct surfaced from multiple former workers. Producer Ha Muscat, who had spent years on the show, went on record with language that couldn't be softened, describing Ellen as a toxic, phony, hypocritical liar. For viewers who had watched that show as a source of daily warmth and humor, these accounts created genuine cognitive dissonance. And according to those who kept digging, the workplace behavior was only the most visible and accessible part of a far more complicated story underneath.
Ellen DeGeneres feeling the heat as more employees, past and present, from her show say that they were working in a toxic environment. Some Hollywood actors also speaking out against the talk show host now.
Toxic, phony, hypocrite, liar. That's what
By every outward measure, Steven Twitch Boss had built exactly the kind of life people work decades toward. As the show's DJ and co-host energy, he was genuinely irreplaceable to what the Ellen DeGeneres show felt like on screen. Off camera, a strong marriage, 3 kids, and professional momentum that showed no signs of slowing. Which is exactly what made December 2022 so impossible for people to process. He checked into a motel room less than a mile from his family and didn't come home. No note was found. His wife, Allison Holker, told the public there had been no warning signs she recognized, no apparent financial stress, no visible emotional deterioration. His mother, by multiple accounts, wasn't satisfied with what she was being told. Then people started examining the timing. Twitch's death came at the precise moment when pressure on Ellen's production environment had reached a peak of public scrutiny. Those following the story closely began raising the possibility that Twitch had access to information that went significantly beyond the workplace misconduct stories already circulating, information that, in the wrong context, could have made him a liability to people with serious reason to stay protected. The official record reflects one conclusion. Many who knew him personally, reportedly, believe the full picture remains incomplete.
There's 2 things that I want to touch on because I know that you guys will eat me up if I don't. And those 2 things are the passing of Twitch and the passing of Ellen's ex-girlfriend, Anne. So very briefly, in a nutshell, Twitch was the DJ who replaced DJ Tony on The Ellen Show, and he was also a So You Think You Can Dance alumni. In December of 2022, Twitch was found unalive in a hotel room not far from his residence. It was revealed that Twitch took his own life due to a self-inflicted wound to the head. When Twitch's mother found out that her son had passed away, she was immediately suspicious and believed that someone had harmed him. Twitch's wife family, and friends all shared that they were not aware that he was struggling emotionally, that he had been depressed, that he was having thoughts of taking his own life. No one had any clue. The family was not experiencing any kind of financial hardships. They had children together. They were in a loving marriage, according to his wife. An autopsy and toxicology revealed that he did not have anything in his system, nor was any kind of foul play thought to be in question. I believe the theory that Ellen had something to do with his passing perhaps comes from the toxic work environment that Ellen cultivated that might have weighed on Twitch harder than others. And being in a hostile work environment will cause anyone to question their worth.
There's a specific kind of silence that only happens when a room full of people hear something they recognize as true and realize simultaneously that it was never supposed to be said out loud. That's the silence that fell over the Golden Globes audience in January 2020, when Ricky Gervais made his Epstein remark. No scattered laughs, no awkward applause to fill the gap, just stillness, the kind that has weight to it. Gervais had already told that room the clock on their era was running down. Then he named the thing nobody in that building wanted named, and the cameras recorded every motionless face in response. Go back and watch it now. Those aren't the expressions of people who heard a tasteless joke. Those are the expressions of people who just heard their own name called in a language only they understood. Whether Gervais intended it as a warning or a gut punch, the room received it as both.
And not only are we not furious, most of us, we don't care, we wouldn't have even known about it if you hadn't have found it and printed it and told us we're furious. So it's just this vicious cycle. But no, I don't care. And likewise, I know people are allowed to be offended by things I've said. That's up to them. That's the good thing about freedom of speech. I can say what I want. You can say you're offended. I can care or not.
That night didn't close anything. It opened something. And what's been emerging since, the continued fallout from Epstein-connected documents, the legal proceedings around Diddy, the unresolved questions surrounding the deaths of Anne Heche and Twitch, none of it feels coincidental when you start laying it flat and looking at the shape it makes. What takes form is a picture of an industry held together not by talent or merit but by mutual exposure, by what powerful people know about each other and the quiet, persistent threat of that knowledge being released. Ellen allegedly spent years sitting at the center of that system, gathering information while her audience applauded. But Gervais said he didn't care about the fallout, and that indifference gave him a kind of freedom nobody else in that room had. The walls that seemed permanent are visibly shifting now. The people who built them are no longer operating from a position of safety, and whatever comes next, the usual damage control tools are unlikely to be enough.
I didn't go out there and break the law. It wasn't mental. Everything was justified. I researched those jokes. I made sure it was fair. I wouldn't say anything to go, well, that's not fair. He didn't do that. I'd go, only tell the truth. I didn't out anyone. I didn't do anything that was not in public. I didn't do anything that was something they couldn't help. It was about their behaviors.
Here's what's worth genuinely asking. Is Ellen the actual center of something that runs far deeper than one television career, or has the industry simply needed a recognizable name to absorb the weight of its own accumulated failures? Honestly, both could be true at the same time. Either way, the celebrities who are currently staying quiet and hoping the spotlight moves elsewhere may be miscalculating how much time they actually have. Tell us what you think below, because the next development in this story isn't going to arrive quietly, and it may well be the piece that finally makes everything else fall into place. Stay alert. In this particular story, the most disarming people in the frame have consistently turned out to be the ones worth watching most carefully.